Liberia. We set the tune. We control the airwaves. We are the nation's pride, the biggest platform. Our panelists are some of Liberia's brightest and best political analysts from diverse backgrounds, like Vandela Patrick, Dr. Lester Zumatic Tene, Al Hussein Fadiga, Samson Brown Toole, Daniel Sando, and Eugene Lamin Fangon. Nightline Liberia begins at 8 p.m. with 60 minutes around the country, bringing you updates from LBS correspondents. Nightline Liberia's final segment kicks off with its panelists and pundits from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. as they propound on trending national issues. Nightline Liberia. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. From LBS correspondents. Nightline Liberia's final segment kicks off with its panelists and pundits from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. as they propound on trending national issues. Nightline Liberia. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
When we work together, there is nothing we can do as a people. This is why
it's Nightline Liberia every Monday to Friday beginning at 8 p.m. on ELBC Radio.
Business of the Liberian people by not doing business as usual. I challenge you to join me, the Thing Liberian, Love Liberia, and Liberia.
It's Nightline Liberia every Monday to Friday beginning at 8 p.m. on ELBC Radio, 99.9 FM, and other frequencies on the country.
You turn right, you tune to ERBC 99.9 and other frequencies across the nation. You turn right, you tune to ERBC 99.9 and other frequency across the country. Good. Coming up next is your favorite talk show, Nightline Liberia, with some of Liberia's brightest and best in the political business. Let's now welcome the moderator. Our moderator is Anthony Vaughan. Anthony Vaughan, good evening.
Good evening, sir. I'm quite excited. Welcome to Nightline again. Good evening, Mr. Minister. Good evening to our panelists online, and it's a good thing to pair with you.
Nice to always have you. So we're gonna roll it in a different way, not our usual way. We want to try out something different. So let's welcome our online team here. Let's welcome Samson Toole, the Liberal. Can you hear me, the Liberal?
Yes, I can. I hope I'm audible as well.
Good evening, the Liberal. Welcome to Nightline Liberia.
Thank you. Good evening to you as well, and good evening to our listeners. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Okay, let's quickly look at the screen here and welcome some of the folks that have already joined us. On Thomas is there. Let me welcome Thomas. Good evening, Thomas. Thomas,
good evening.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, let's welcome online. We got Timothy Fala there. Fire, right? Fala is watching on many miles away from us. So those of you who will join us later, welcome to you. Mr. Vaughan?
Yes, sir.
Welcome and take it away.
Thank you. Again, let me. Okay, it's good to announce that Vandela Patrick, one of our venerable panelists, have joined us. Vandela, let me say good evening and welcome.
Well, it's good to be here. I have to beat the traffic.
Right.
And
interestingly, you are sitting before the Minister of Transport.
Oh, yes,
and you are dealing with the issue of the traffic to come.
Oh, yeah. So
Okay.
it's a good time.
Yeah.
Honorable Minister, welcome. And it's good to see you here again.
Thank you. And I know Fabian is here. Don't mind her. You're not hearing her. She's making sure that this vessel is stable. She's ensuring that everything is going right. So, Mr. Minister, from the Ministry of Transport, the Honorable Minister of Transport. We are happy to have you here in LBS.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
You've been in the ministry for a long time.
Well, I used to serve as the Deputy Minister for Administration and Insurance.
Sure.
But before we get into it, let me greet all the panelists and folks in Radio Land and the rest of the country, particularly my people in the western part of Liberia. Mr. Vawen, we haven't met, but your son, Sam Vawen, used to work for me at some point. So there's some relationship there, Mr.
Yes, he told me a lot about that, and it's something I should say thank you about.
No problem. And Mr. D. Flo is a good friend of mine. And the famous activist, and the rest of the people. But in a nutshell, I'm happy to be here and talk to the Liberian people on how we met the Ministry of Transport, what have we done, and what we continue to do in our future plans. And let's just take it away.
And I was quite intentional when I said you've been in the ministry for a long time, because I wanted to talk about where you saw it, where you've taken it, where we are now, and the rest of it. First of all, how is the ministry?
Well, we have around 398 employees, and we've done many things to motivate them and bring them to the highest standard of professionalism there is. But we're getting there. The ministry overall is good. We are working on many projects. We are realigning departments. We are doing many things as instructed by our leader, His Excellency Joseph Yimabwaka. I'm actually just leaving the First Lady birthday to run here and have this interview. If she's listening, I hope she agree with my
happy birthday.
Yeah, I think all of us are saying happy birthday.
Happy birthday to the First Lady of the Republic.
Online. You beat us on that, Mr. Minister. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to our online.
Let's take the first one from you. The first question.
Okay. So the question is,
how is the
ministry? We are seeing here. How is the Ministry of Transport?
So let me give you a little background, people in listening land, that just a little background of the Ministry of Transport. You know, the Ministry of Transport was born out of the Ministry of Commerce, Industry, and Transport. In 1987, President Doe, in his wisdom, passed an act of the legislature to establish the Ministry of Transport to regulate and have oversight on all modes of transportation. And then my own older auntie and big sister, my Claude Dapo, who I'm following in her footsteps, she was the first Minister of Transport. And what we do is that we regulate and have policies on all the modes of transportation. That means land, air, sea, pipeline, transmodal, intermodal, and you name it. And as it stands now, let me tell you how we met the ministry. I don't know whether that was your question, but
yeah, I mean, we're asking how is the ministry, how you met it, how is it now? That's what we want to know, because I also want to say, just as a little reminder for the public, I think you were in a deputy role before, and then you became minister proper.
Yes,
except if I'm wrong.
You are quite correct, but that was a tough time in my life.
Okay.
Things were scattered and not professionally done, so we stood back and watched. There were many times that we disagreed. I think pharaohs were created all across government at the time. If you create pharaohs, you get to this totalitarianism that people don't maximize their full potential, and you can see the difference now that we're there. But I don't like to litigate the past. The past is the past. We need to forge ahead and think about a new sector, think about a new country, think about things that we can move development towards. I was today at the investment forum, and many of the things we discussed in the transport sector was moving ahead, was bringing innovations, we're bringing technology, we're bringing all those good things in place. But when we took over, we established an agenda to transform things, to make things better. And the ministry have had 2 fires in 3 years. When I mean 2 fires in 3 years, the ministerial suite at one point was gutted with fire. The bottom floor was gutted with fire just before the inception of this government, our government. There were existing leakages in revenue. We had sanitation issues. When I mean sanitation issues, all the bathrooms were a mess. We had to replace commodes in there. That's how bad it was. I mean, all the floors on the tires of every floor was broken. Things were in pretty bad shape, extremely bad. I'll share pictures with the online folks. We had a weak road safety implementation program. And at the Ministry of Transport, like every transport sector in any country, safety is the hallmark. If the planes are not safe, you're not going to get in them. When the vehicles are not safe, my brother Vatala batteries will not be here today. And then also when the ships are not safe, you're not getting them. And one thing I always say is ask a question. In this room, how did we all come here? It's by some mode of transportation. So we are extremely important. We're part of the economy. And that's that. But on top of that, we how we met it, there were a lot of demotivation of the staffs, and that led to revenue leakages that I mentioned earlier. And that led to people not maximizing their potential at the highest level as they should. So we're working on that. We started massive capacity building in terms of training. We just sent 2 persons to the United States to do road safety audits, and one of them is our Assistant Minister for Land and Road Services. He should be back soon. We just graduated one of our students from a university in China with a master's degree. And at the LCAA, there were issues. Thank God we have a great director general there who's changing things. The airports, we could not pass the ICAO audit. When I mean ICAO is the International Civil Aviation Organization audit, and that organization was born out of the Chicago Conference in 1944. Also there was issues with ITA. I mean, it was so bad. The last ICAO audit, the airport did not even have a single fire truck. We had to get a fire truck from LPRC and pretend like it was the airport. That's how bad it was. I mean, that's how bad it was. This is a sector that, has millions, hundreds of millions of dollars flowing through. But thanks to His Excellency, we were able to secure at least a fire truck now, and one more to be procured pretty soon. The procurement process is going on. And at the NTA, we all know it. There was massive fire there that got to the place. There were 45 buses. At the end of the last government, there was only 3 left. I mean, how bad it was. So what we have done, we have been carrying out some renovations. I said I would share the pictures with you. We even had to do the ministerial office. I mean, how bad it was. We dug a 900-foot well because we're up on Crown Hill. We have to hit water beds to supply water system in the whole building. You cannot treat your employees the way they were treated or have felt, and I think that was the right thing to do. People spend 8-9 hours of work, and if the bathrooms are not clean, how do they even use it? If the bathroom doesn't have running water, I mean, what kind of sanitation is that? And that was copied from the arrest agenda, where sanitation is a major piece of that. So we realigned divisions to boost revenue. We made changes specifically in revenue generating.
How much are we talking about revenue generation here? Because the last time I saw in the paper was more than how many millions of dollars we're talking about?
Well, I will get to that eventually.
Okay.
And I'm just telling you what we did to get that revenue that everybody's excited about.
Okay.
So we aligned these divisions by putting capable people in place, and we have increased revenue by a lot. I will show you those informations as I go through my little conversation. We enforce the third-party insurance in the country. because insurance is of esoteric importance to international trade. Let me repeat that. Insurance is of esoteric importance to international trade. You cannot have investors in the country, people coming to invest millions, or you want them to invest hundreds of millions of dollars, and yet your streets are not safe. They don't have coverage even if you put that vehicles on the road. From a diplomatic point of view, I mean, imagine a vehicle hitting the British ambassador car or the United States ambassador car, and there's no insurance. So we enforce that. I think you can hear now that what the system at the transport ministry is different. We didn't want to enforce it just by talking it. We enforce it through the system. So we allow you to come and register your vehicle. And before we give you a plane, you need to go get an insurance. So we put a control checkpoint in there. That has happened. Insurance revenue for the government has 300 times increased because of that.
Wow.
So we changed and redesigned the non-revenue government plates. When I mean non-revenue plates, I'm talking about the plates of the legislature, the officials of government, security sector, and all government network. And the reason why we did that, because there were revenue leakages in those places, and it was inundated with it. The country was inundated with them. I mean, there was no controls in who gets what, and we with GSA we had to even restructure in the official series who gets what. And we recently released the transport fare. At least we have reduced transportation fares by about 34% across the country. Sorry for Morovia and its environs, we released the one for the longer routes in as soon as possible time. We are working with the NTA to ensure that we have a new system for buses. And when I mean new system, I'm not talking about just buses, because buses will fail you. We're talking about a system with cashless payment system, where you don't have to give anybody cash to enter a bus. You can buy a monthly pass, weekly pass, and that sort of thing. That's what we are working towards now. And also, very important, extremely importantly, let me piggyback on what I said earlier. We have not passed the ICAO audit since the war. So meaning your airport is at a level 6 and not the level 9 up. Part of that passing of the airport, we needed to operationalize the aircraft accident investigation board. And the president, I've appointed Captain Weaver and other people there to manage that part in case there's accident and incidents. When I mean accidents, I'm talking about crashes and that kind of thing. Incidents meaning when you fall, you in a plane and get tripped. That's an incident that needs to be investigated and make sure that it's safe.
That's correct.
So apart from revenue, we started the Ministry of, when we came, and the revenue for the month of January was around $597,000. The next month we took it to 892. The following month we took it to 901. The next month, because the plans start when you begin, and when the plans kick in, we raised a walloping $1.9 million that month of April. $1.9 million. The following month we did 1.4, and then the following month we did 7.96, and then this current month we are 808. Combined, we have raised around $7.3 million, unprecedented, as compared to last year. If we're comparing last year to this time, so last year around this same time, yet to date July 2023, we raised the ministry raised about 4.8 million. Yet to date 2024 July, we have raised $7.3 million. So $3 million more than what we did, more than $3 million what we did. See, this is not attributed to me. It's attributed to the team that was given to me by the president, and also it's attributed to the nice and intelligent and professional workforce at the Ministry of Transport. I have an inspectorate team that, they are very tough and rigorous when they're doing their inspections. But not only that, so I'm not litigating the past, but I have to say this. You put a guy on the street for 30 days, 45 days to do inspection. You incentivize him by giving a per diem of $6,000-$7,000 Liberian dollars.
Yes.
And you expect him to perform. That was the issue. We motivated the staff by looking at those budget lines and putting more into the individuals. So the last inspections, and many people, the calls, you get all these calls. Our folks were giving $40,000 each, so we went from 6 to 40, because we realized in order to raise money, we have to motivate their staff. On the average, they make $366, and these are people that's supposed to raise millions for you. So as a way of incentivizing them, in our budget, we took money from places that were not necessary, particularly trash cars to ministers, gasoline to ministers. When I was there and saw those things were packed in Germany in those places, and I took them out and redirected them to the men on the field, and we are yielding those results. So I can give you another example of we have in our revenue bucket, or the budget line, we call eligibility. What that is that all garages, all spare parts stores, or used car dealership and all new car dealership pay a fee to the government annually. I started off with the last month revenue of $2,339, and I knew there was an issue. Immediately when I saw that, I did my own tour around Monrovia City, and I realized just around the street alone, we're giving $100,000. So that cannot be the case. If you look at the spare parts store on Randall Street, just counting them, you realize, well, we have something here. So at this moment, I can safely say we have raised that particular budget line by 400-500%.
Wow.
So I realized that there are issues. There were issues, and we can
touch those things.
We can release those. Okay. We can release those to the team here if they want to see them. And also when we came to the Ministry of Transport, we said, well, if road safety is or safety as an example is the main thing of any transportation, that we need to focus on road safety, and the bulk of our people is on roads. So we reviewed the road safety policy. We changed. They were previously they only used to go out all the time and just wear t-shirts and just be around. And we said, well, no, we need more awareness. Let stratify our awareness to tailor to the people. Let's focus on the drivers. Let's focus on the real people that will make us to get safe. And through those efforts, I can report to you that last year there were, we have to compare periods and periods. Any data kind of analysis thing. So last year we had 1,693 reported accidents in the country. This year to date, we and last year resulted in 200 fatalities reported, 150 sadly.
In the country?
Yes.
Okay.
Sadly, 150 were men and 50 were women. Yet to date this year, we have reported we have only recorded 519 accidents from 1,693 the whole year. So you see, we are on a trajectory of success. If you even go in your local communities, folks will tell you, say, well, accidents among the bikers have dropped, because with the Liberia National Police having our back on this particular issue, you see around the city, bikes are not allowed at certain places, and they must be insured. And one of my everybody got picking in Liberia, right? And I'm climbing down the stairs and he's laying on the wall. I said, but what are you laying on the wall for? Say, Brabi, a show. I said, well, you got to insure our motorbike now. And so, but we didn't just leave them hanging. We called the Liberia Insurance Association, and we said, well, this is, we have this nuance in our insurance industry. There's a way we have to find to insure them. So we were able to negotiate, brought actuaries together, brought the team at Ministry of Transport and LRA, and we decreased that. We found a price of around $80 registration per motorbike. Now divide 80 by 12 and divide that by that 12, or divide 80 by 365. That tell you how much they're paying a day. Pretty meager, because the economic envelope for them especially might be low. So with all those measures, you can see now that they are wearing the helmets, they are wearing some colorful jackets on, and they are wearing shoes. And you also see that their bikes is insured. But not only that gave them some dignity. At least people respect them now. And those are some of the things we did together. Because if you If you have dignity in your job, then people respect you. I understand transportation should be bulk, but this is what we have, and we'll transition into the international standard that we want to do. Our next focus at the Ministry of Transport is decentralization. We have to take services to the people. We are renovating and will soon be completing our Ganta Service Center. The team went and did assessment there. We are looking at Kakata, we are looking at Banga, we are looking at my good old Bombing County, where I'm
Yes.
from, in the west.
Thelmabury.
Yeah, we are looking at setting somewhere in Lofa. And so we are looking at revitalizing the place in Grangida, and we want to do something in Maryland. So this is what we are trying to do in terms of decentralization. When I mean that, I mean we want all of those places, the same service you can get in Morovia, you should be able to have it there, so our people can have access to them. We also we have a small spot at the ministerial complex, and people do the same services that you do at the Ministry of Transport. But let me say something on that. At the Ministry of Transport, it's a extremely busy ministry, and I would just like the public to understand that you need to bear with us sometime. Motor vehicle activities everywhere is a hassle. It's tough. It's sometimes really, really time consuming. And we tell people, come at the ministry. Do not give your money to people standing around. We cannot control that. Come at the Ministry of Transport. The customer care will meet you and will invite you in. They'll ask you what you need, and you will be served. At peak, when we do inspections, we see around 750 to 1,200 persons a day. That is a lot of people to put in a room. Now, when people say, how do you get these numbers? Well, we came to the Ministry of Transport and said we need to be a data-driven ministry. When I mean data, we need information. To make decisions, you need the information. You need things to make decisions on. If you just sit at the Ministry of Transport and you have a clicker, as people come in, you click, as people come in, you click, you will realize that in 20 minutes, we see around 50 persons. And we test that, and our average time for 50 persons, the 20 minutes was 50. If you multiply that 50 by 3 is 150. If you multiply that by the 8 hours, you get the 750 to the 1,200 persons. And that's the way we get those numbers. So we are busy. At peak, we get those numbers. So we ask the public sometime to bear with us when we are a little slow. But also, we are working on new revenue sources for the sector, especially in terms of land transport and air as well. So if you buy a ticket in Liberia, an airline ticket, you see that you only pay 10% GST locally, correct?
Yes.
But I don't have to buy my ticket here. I can buy anywhere else, so I can avoid that. How do I stop that? So those are the things we're working on, so people actually pay to increase the government envelope. Because I know you say, well, the revenue piece, because government desperately need those revenue. We have lots of needs, and we have lots of competing priorities, and those revenue are needed to, get some things done in what we intend to do. Also, we are looking at roadworthiness inspections, and our registration should be a 3-level process. You have to go and take your car to make sure it's roadworthy before you can insure it, before you can register it. Now, that is the international standard. As we move our country to prosperity and progress and better developmental state, we need to do those things because it makes the ego safe. It makes our children safe. It makes everybody safe. So we are also with the legislature working on a new law for the rail, the national rail system of a law. The president has, I think, done an executive order. We are looking at the 11 domestic airports to see whether we can put some jolt in them. We are looking at Springs. We are looking at RIA. We are looking at inland waterways. We are looking at coastal transportation because we have a 350 miles coastline, right? And at this point, there's barely no transportation there. Even if there is, we need something there that will move our people from one point to another. And not only that, it should be safe. Wherein when you get on a ferry or something, you need to be wearing a life jacket. So all of those issues, that's where we see the future. But before we leave, before the president leave office, the plan is to do things that nobody has done. It will only be on his watch that those things happen. Because this president is a president of change. He wants immense and immaculate change in the country. He wants to move us to a place where Liberia can see immense growth, and we can begin on the path of progress that will never end. Thank you.
Okay, Minister. I know we have about 4 in studio, and we have how many persons online here? How many we have online? Today we have Guo is there. We have Liberia is there, and who else? A panelist.
So you came your question.
Yeah, we got too many questions for you, and we're gonna let you finish your list.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is 2 hours, right? So we run for 1 hour, 30 minutes, and then we open the line for our people. So Anthony, let's start with you.
Well, yeah. So again, we started earlier by asking you where the ministry is. You've done a very good job laying out where you met the ministry, what interventions that you all have made. What you're looking up to doing. So I will choose that we give an opportunity to online, and then we come back to us after here. If you agree with me, then we start with online. Who online is ready?
Libra,
if you're ready, you can go.
I can go. The way Libra is sitting, I don't think he's
okay. Let's Guo wants to go first.
So let's get Guo.
Go ahead. We can hear you. Your question, the Honorable Minister for Transport is here.
Good evening, Honorable Minister. Thank you for joining us today.
Minister, can you hear him?
Yes.
Go ahead, the Minister can hear you.
2 questions basically in one. So let's start with the recent decision by the government to slash transportation fares. Can you elaborate on the reasons behind this decision? And question number 2, with the reduction in fares, what measures have been put in place to ensure that the new pricing is effectively implemented across the country?
All right, can I take it one at a time?
Yes, so we'll do one question per panelist, and then we'll go around for the second round. So let's do one. You will just take his 2 from there. Each person will come with 1 first, please.
Okay, I can answer, right?
Yes, because that way you don't have to.
I know I had a long shift today. I'm still working. So my brain may not be as sharp to remember everything. Anyhow, so we do a lot of data since we came back. So we put our people in the field to see the interactions with the commercial drivers. And we realize there's a lot of arbitration in terms of arbitrary fares. People will just call prices. So that's what prompted that. We are answerable to the public. We have to make transportation affordable. But at the Ministry of Transport, we are working on something called our Equity Action Plan. And what that means is, how do I make transportation affordable for all? And it's in that vein that we decided to do the fares. Let me just explain to you the process of the fare. So it's not arbitrarily done. We do traffic count. We measure distances. We look at the price of gas. We look at the prices of gasoline, fuel, and other petroleum products. We look at with the help of the Commerce Ministry, we get the consumer price index for different commodities that are relating to the sector, the land transport. When I say sector, I'm talking about spare parts, tires, or everything that is wear and tear on the car, and we look at the price. So there's a model that we built, and in those models, we predict those prices, and we concerned about 2 things. It should be affordable, and the people that own those vehicles should make some profits. And that's the balance we strike. And also, a change is preempted when the gasoline price go up by 50 cents or it dropped by 50 cents. Then we go and redo and reissue new fares. So it was based on all those educated work, those smart thinking, the team at Transport Ministry in collaboration with Commerce, Liberia National Police, and all transport unions, their team that are part of it, and they work on this together. He talked about his next question was, how do we enforce the fares. All enforcement anywhere in the world, it starts with the public. That's why police do a lot of community engagement, because the public is the one that report crime, they report everything. So we are counting on the public. We have a hotline, we have a number that is public. We are counting on the public that if a driver charges you on arbitrary fare, all you have to do, we would not encourage you to get in any confrontation. We want you to pay the fare, take the picture of that license plate. We will issue a fine. The first offense for every commercial driver is $100 US. And the second fine or repeated incident is about $200 US. So we're asking the public to help us. We'll be putting our inspectors out in vehicles to test them. And that's how we do the enforcement. But those fares were not done without the commercial drivers. All of their unions were sitting at the table when those things were done. As a matter of fact, if you look at the document, you see the names and phone numbers of all the union members in all the transport unions. So it's a collaborative work. And we are appealing to all drivers to follow those fares, or we are coming after you.
Wow. Coming after them.
Coming after you.
I think I can go, right?
Let's Anthony, since of course you have the screen and you're sitting there,
Right.
and then you get a chance now to call up. That
Right.
way, yeah, you get to
Right. So we earlier had asked
Guo. That was Guo.
okay.
No.
We had earlier asked our first panelist who came to start, but Guo said he wanted to go.
Yes.
So let's take him. Then after him, we come down to
Guo just
Vanilla.
finished. Guo finished now. Guo was the question. Guo was the one. So Vanilla is nice.
Vandella.
Yeah, yes, Mr. Minister, thank you so much. I'm very proud of what you've done. I'm surprised to hear that you were already in the system and later on got preferred by His Excellency Joseph Yuma Boaka to now head the Ministry of Transport. And I hope that all the mistakes in the past will be corrected. My issue has to do with driver's license.
Perfect.
You gave a statistic that in 2023 or something like that, there were 1,693, accidents. I stand to be corrected, but it has reduced now to 519.
Yeah, to date.
Yeah, and out of that, there were 200 fatality. I think people die or sustain major injuries. So my thing is, Mr. Minister, what measure do you put into place? What is the criteria that somebody just works at the Ministry of Transport and say, I want a driver license?
Perfect.
Without testing that individual, whether that person has a bad driving record, you automatically give them driver license and they go out. I have gone there on 2-3 occasions. I stand to be corrected. So I've been thinking, what method is there a plan for change that when you go for driver license, you have to be tested? Like in the US, before you are giving a driver license.
Road test, right?
Road test. They want to know not just road test, but whether you are mentally stable. It's possible that you can see good. You get cataract in your eye, you not get good eyesight. You're using glasses. So you are not allowed to drive in the night. Certain driver license, they allow you only to drive in the day. Certain driver license, because of your eyesight, you are not allowed to drive in the night. So are there plans to ensure that people who go for driver license, it's a good thing when you talk about decentralization, that's good. I really want you to
answer the question one at a time.
Okay, yes. Sir. Okay.
Because you see them in the activity.
I get one more question. Okay, sir.
All right. It seems like you're a transport expert in terms of driver license when you ask the questions. Anyways, so we have this policy at the Ministry of Transport. For new drivers, before you get your driver license, you must be certified by a driving school. So we certify driving schools on our eligibility program. Okay. So that's how new drivers getting. But I agree with you, we need to do more than that. And that's some of the plans we're working on. Some of the things we're trying to put to fruition. We are trying to partner with driving schools and the Liberia National Police to jointly do the testing. And that should be coming sometime next year.
So does that mean that the police will have a driving center, like the police academy? You go do your driving there, pass the road test, and then they give you the paper. You take it to transport before you get a certificate, like they do in the United States.
Yes, we want a joint certificate with transport, the police, and the driving schools together. That's exactly what we want to do. Also, we need to do eye testing, as Mr. Patrick said. We used to do eye testing, but the procedures were not good, especially in terms of the PFM law. And those are some of the malaise and bad practices we stop. You cannot bring a vendor that there's no contract. It didn't follow PPCC, none of that. So those are audit issues. Even though we want to follow process, we need to look at the where the money goes.
Okay.
I'm coming. So we are working on the system with JFK. JFK has one of the best eye center in the country. I spoke to the health minister. She sent the JFK team already there. We are trying to sign the MOU so JFK can go and establish the center. And let me be clear with you. That's now that the little $500 to $700 Liberian dollars per person in eye testing is now our core revenue. So we think the eye clinic that needs all the help could go and benefit from those minimum funds. And it can help in what they do at JFK. So we're working with JFK to make sure that they go and set up there and do the testing. The reason why JFK is the nation's hospital, it has the best eye center, and besides, it will be certified by the right people, the right professionals. You know, the Ministry of Transport don't have eye doctors there. We need to partner with people that can do this, to take care of those processes. So that will be up soon, and also the combined testing with the Liberia National Police and the driving schools, that will happen. But for now, the system is for new drivers. You go get a driving school certificate first. And listen, we're dealing with people. We cannot have 100% perfection. So sometimes the slippage that happen, but we are correcting those. We are working very hard to correct those. And we tell the public, if you are in those situations, kindly reach out. You know, we have a public number there. Reach out. We'll take all the corrective actions there is. So when I went for my confirmation, I remember Senator Emmanuel Badigwa asked this question: "Well, you be at the ministry and it was not good for you. You were ostracized and thing. When you come back with that, what do you think about that?" I say, "Well, here, I know the people that work there, and they do know me. They know what I stand for. They know I stand for what is right. They know I would do what is right. They know I have no fear or favor in executing my duties. And, you know, I have a reputation in this country for being professional. And that's what we do. And that's what the team at the Ministry of Transport starts doing. They started that. It's like an epiphany. People are waking up and people have a sense of purpose. People go to work and say, at least we're doing things now. And that's across every division. I advise anybody from the EBS to come and take a tour and see what we do there, division to division.
I'll pay a visit to your ministry. Along with the team. Not
only that, I believe I know the ministry. I can stay in front of the ministry anytime.
You spent 12 years there, right?
No, that
12.
I mean 7 years.
7 years? Okay. So I'll give you more time.
I can stay in front of the ministry and tell you what every division is doing at a particular point. Because I know the place.
Okay.
Just name any division, I will tell you what to do, that you are, and all that stuff.
Yeah, quickly, I get I got two questions. Only one he took to respond. So finally, from my side, with respect to my two questions, this issue of insurance companies, you know, yes. And recently when there was this mapping, you know, I want to commend you, and I gave you this joke. So I never had, you know, proper document. Somebody vehicle or you say hello.
In the beginning,
no, so I came from MTA.
Okay.
They locked me in. This vehicle is not for me. So they say, okay, I'm going to the ministry after some time. So while I was using the SKD Boulevard, reaching, you know, where to police academy, that other intersection. I saw the guy there. I tell you like this. No, I think it was a complete map up. It's not I must commend you for that, even though I was affected. And I call an individual, you need to register the car. I started using back. That was good. I must commend you for that. Finally, this issue about clinic at Rabos International Airport. That is a major port of entry. So we are not praying, but in case maybe a passenger is traveling to Brazil or America, or maybe they are coming into the country and they fall sick, maybe emergency, we need a clinic at the Rabos International Airport. They'll be well equipped to address emergency situation. And with that, I conclude with the issue of insurance companies. You send the drivers to go and get insurance, but when there is an accident, they are delaying. They often delay in meeting up their obligation. What step is the ministry taking to deal with those insurance companies that are always? Some of them would refuse completely, and your vehicle is damaged. You don't get the kind of redress. So how are you planning to deal with that?
Okay. In two folds here. You talk about how my guys are giving you tough time doing inspections. Well, we don't want to do seasonal inspections. We want to do routine inspections. So what we started doing now is called smart inspections. We are going into those community roads and setting up. So you see people coming to do that work. That's why you see them in places that you would usually not see them. But I grant credit to the Assistant Minister for Land Rail and the Deputy Minister for Land Rail, and also to the Inspector General, Africanus family. They come up with these plans, and we look at them together. So the team has been supporting me in that aspect. And then you talk about insurance companies. We are charged, the statutory body in the country, to run the third-party liability insurance. There's a law, the Insurance Law 1972, that has been changed many times. But anyways, the insurance companies and clients, we are asking the public, when the insurance companies are giving you problems in terms of claims, come to the director for the division of insurance, and she will handle those things. The insurance company know us, and specifically, again, they know me.
Okay.
I will always fight for the public, and I'll always do what is right. Albeit sometimes our people don't have the right information for insurance companies, because sometimes when we start investigating these matters, the insurance company tell you, say, go and get me a police report. And sometimes they don't. Or sometimes they get delayed there. When we investigate it, sometimes that's what we see. So we tell people, go to a police. You cannot go and have a fender bender or small little accident. You didn't involve the police, right? And then you expect the insurance company to pay up quickly. They have to launch their own investigation. What solves that problem is when the authority involved, which is the police, when they get that report, then insurance company have some legal document to process a claim. So it's in twofold. We have to, when insurance companies should never delay when everything is right, but also our people should have the right document. Because when you fill up an insurance form, there's a lot of documents in the back that we don't read. Usually we don't read. A friend of mine would say, if you want, I like to talk about my Gola people because I am. You say, you want mess with Gola both in black and white, right?
They don't want to read.
Yeah. So we need to sometimes read the fine print. So that's the situation there. Okay. But there's two sides.
Okay. And the issue of the Rabos International Airport.
Well,
I live my Gibi, I live Smentis. So I have seen a lot. I'm asking this question based on my observation.
We are working on many things. The airport is at level 6 now.
Okay.
We've been in office just 6 months, the president. I've been at the ministry in 5 months. Give us the time at least. When destruction happened for 6 years,
okay.
To change takes time. I'll give you an example. We all went to high school here. If you want to cheat on the exam, it's more difficult than really studying.
Yes.
So when things are messed up, it takes time to clean.
Definitely.
You have to put your foot down to get things done, and we are doing that. And I'll say this one thing I admire, and I mean this with the utmost heartfelt feelings in me. I have been to cabinet meetings just to represent in Mr. Weah government twice, but this cabinet, everybody is passionate about what they do. Even when we meet at occasions, just the first lady birthday, we're there, and people pulling each other out to talk about work. I mean, intergovernmental agency work. I have seen the passion. I've seen ministers. I've seen people wanting to do more. My 8 years in Liberia, this is the first time I'm seeing that. The very, very first time I see a group of people so passionate about their work. And I attribute all of this to the president. He reached out to the ministers. He learns from them. He advises them. He showed them direction. He showed them a vision. Cabinet ministers and agency heads are extremely passionate about what they do. I mean, you got to tell somebody, remember, we president.
Apparently, maybe from the pressure of the president, that if you don't want.
Let's take the next.
So I got reminded recently. What kind of show is that? I remember we're not reminding the public
Nightline
about
Liberia.
what we do. So this is Nightline Liberia. It's on ELBC 99.9. Other frequencies is online as well. So we bring in the panelists, some of the best in the country, to discuss the issues that matter to us most. We bring in some of the best guests. Like today, we're having the Minister of Transport, who is almost like blowing my mind as to what they're doing there, the ministry.
Yes.
And so at some point we open the line, you have an opportunity also to call. But I want to go back online. I know that the Liberal has been quietly.
He wants to talk. Liberal wants to talk.
So,
He's an engineer. He's an engineer. Let's talk about that. Liberal.
It's all to you.
Liberal?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
I think I will do the honorable thing to let Sese Goya goes on, because it seemed to me that the minister being driven by the data factor, I think he's quite in line with Sese, and I will let Sese go in, and then I'll come back if I'm given the opportunity to seriously quiz this minister, who I believe, just from listening to him, I think he has within him some of the quality that some of us are very proud to be a Liberian. And I would like to quiz him on that as well. But let's say, please, Sese, go ahead.
All right. Hey, thank you, the Liberal. I appreciate you ceding your time. Mr. Minister, you, through your deliberations, knocked out about 90% of my questions that I had. So I'm sitting here and I'm happy. And I like the issue that you are leading with data. I'm a data scientist, and I hate, I don't like when leaders just pull stuff from the hat and say, this is what we're going to do. So let data continue to lead you. I'm excited to hear that. I do have a flip side to the question that Fendelak asked. Because for me, it's about equity and about access. If you're going to be requiring eye test, but folks have to go to JFK to see an optometrist, talk to a person I'm from Zuluolufa County. Talk to that person from Zuluolufa County who wants to get their driver's license, but has been told that they have to come to Monrovia and have to go to JFK and have to consider the long lines of people that are going to be at JFK. And also has to consider that they have to fund their stay in Monrovia. Aren't you concerned that that's going to be cost prohibitive to a lot of Liberians, and it's not going to be just fair to folks that live outside of Monrovia? And I want you to frame your answer through the lens that Monrovia is not all of Liberia, that there is a vast portion of Liberians that reside outside of Monrovia.
First, I think we having some misunderstanding. I was unequivocally clear When I talk about JFK specifically, I was speaking at the center at the Transport Ministry. They will come at the Transport Ministry and set up. They will not be at JFK. We working together so the team can move there. They need small eye testing, they need the space, they need other things, but it will be at the ministry. You talk about your brothers in Foya, your brothers in
Zillow,
rather, and I will go more than that. My brothers in Clay, Monotown, Bombing County, Gonantown, Rapid Sports, Wedru, Kipama,
in
Bogoni,
Bon
Bon County, everywhere. We are trying to decentralize our services. We want to. We are passionate about it. We will decentralize, and we will do those decentralization programs, and we complete them. Our people will have the services at a distance that is closer to them. Let me repeat what I said concerning the Ganta. We are working on Ganta Service Center to open very soon. We sent our team last weekend to do assessment. You see, you cannot do decentralization if you don't assess the area, right? Mm-hmm. In order to decentralize, you need a few things. You need the availability of banks. You need internet services. You need constant power supply. And you need some safety and security. And those measures has to be in place before you can take the service out. Motor vehicle service, I said initially, so it's a tough thing. It's hassle. It takes time. It's time consuming. And it's frustrating as a taxpayer when I go to register my car and don't get the documents on time. So we have to make sure all of those measures are in place before we can open up a center. But gradually we are getting there. And sir, I understand your concern. We at the Ministry of Transport, like the president was saying, we will not leave taxpayers stuck in the mud. We will not do that. We'll get them to where they're supposed to be. When I mean leave them in the mud, I mean we'll not get them stuck in the services we provide. Well, kindly, we've only been on the job 5 months, but we're working on all of these things. We're talking about opening Ganta. We're talking about revitalizing Kakata. We're talking about about Banga. We're talking about all these places. And as somebody from the West, I like to say I'm from the West because we got relatives in Bombing, Kipma, and Bapolu. That side of the country has been left out in terms of transportation. That was the plea we've been making, and thank God we are sitting at the driver's seat to make sure that those services are there. So, sir, we're working on all of these things, and I'm sorry for the little confusion we have in terms of understanding what I said earlier.
Oh no, thank you for the clarity. I really do appreciate it. Diflo, one more question because I think we're doing two now. But if he doesn't answer,
going too long, but he's not too audible.
Yeah, he's not audible. Where is this guy?
Oh, can you hear me?
Go ahead, just a minute. We got to make sure that you are audible enough. We're not hearing you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Are you hearing me now?
Caesar, can you come closer to your mic? Can you come closer
to your mic?
I'm closer to my mic. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
somehow.
Okay. You're audible.
That's much better.
Yeah, sorry about that. Mr. Minister, thank you so much for the clarity. I appreciate that. And it was good that we asked that before we left the air. My one last question, and I mean, you can roll that into any other things you want to, but I listened keenly when you talk about having the bike riders at the table when you were determining a lot of things that had to affect them. I like that you have people at the table who are being impacted by decisions. My one question is, how is the ministry gathering and incorporating feedback from communities, the consumers, of transportation services when it comes to modernization plans? How are you collecting those feedback from people who are going to use the transportation system, not necessarily the drivers or vehicle owners?
Well, so if I'm understanding your question correctly, you're saying how will the public get the feedback in modernization or future plans for transport?
How will you collect the feedback? How you collect
feedback? If you do a survey,
how collect feedback?
Yes.
Well, so we have the multimodal transport national plan that we work on. That is for the whole country. Just on the side, the public, we will advise them to come forward. We have our numbers. And the feedback is by surveys and things that we do on the field. But my ministry is not in the information business. What we do is that we are here on ERBC. we meet at, and we tell the public what we're trying to do. We advise them to give us feedback. But generally in Liberia, you can just hear feedbacks all over. I mean, people are saying now that, right now the Ministry of Transport, you have to insure your vehicle. Right now the Ministry of Transport, you have to do this. Right now the Ministry of Transport, you see, I didn't know the building could be this clean. And we are in those processes. So again, we don't come with a no way or attitude. If you can help us with any feedback mechanism, sir, we open to that, suggestion. And I would say this to you: we come, to work with the sense of humility. If you're an educated person and you are not humble, you are not going nowhere. And that's why we're trying to. That's the professional thing we're trying to put into our people. So thank you. I hope I answered your question correctly.
Okay. Thank you. Fabin wanted to come in with a question or two. Since the Liberal wants to collect all and get
be the last person,
yes,
right?
Yeah. Okay, Fabin, let's say you.
Mr. Minister, I listened to you keenly, and there were several points you struck, and those points were jotted down. I'm concerned about two issues.
Okay.
The new transport fares.
Okay.
There are a lot of people, especially the drivers, that are not adhering to those fares that the government slashed. And you find drivers and passengers having some standout. Like, for example, I experienced it today while coming to work at around the junction. There was this empty cab coming from town that took us directly from the Liberia National Police at the junction. And the lady that sat by me in the taxi had $150 to pay. And he said, no, it's $200. She said, no, I have the fares. And it was right on her phone. And there was some argument. So I decided to disembark from the taxi to avoid that. So she said, okay, so I'm stopping Duporo. He said, it's $250. She said, no, I can't pay that amount. And the next thing when I look, he wanted to hold the lady. He held the lady by her blouse. Okay. So I came back and said, no, you can't do that. He said, you got to pay me my money. Who here for government business? The government buying gas or fuel for me. So how are you going to cope with that? Because we need people to effectuate that price so as to alleviate the problems here. And my second question
Can I take it one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing is, let me apologize for that incident. Nobody should be assaulted because they're trying to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. It's sad, it's pathetic, it's disheartening. I wish you were reported that to the Liberia National Police. So, you see, for the fare structure, we have a 3 approach to it. Our inspectors will be in texted to surprise drivers when the first offense, you have to pay $100 fees before your car gets turned over to you plus toll. Also, the second offense will be $200 plus toll. So we very tough in those enforcements. Also, the Liberia National Police, who is part of the fare making structure, is in on this, and we are advising the public against to report those cases. You see, you did not know you had to report that case. If you are just taking the plate of that driver and send it to us through our hotline, we'll run the numbers. We'll run the plate number, and we'll run that plate number. We got an alert for that person. And when we catch that vehicle, you'll be surprised we just tow it. I think you can see there were instances, even during our inspections, that people refused to get out of the car. Mm-hmm. And we towed it, they're in the car.
Yeah,
when we're doing our job, we do our job pretty effectively. But we need cooperation from the public. You see, we are the Ministry of Transport. We cannot be everywhere at the same time. And for those kind of drivers, those are the people we like to deal with. Because when we deal with you, according to the law and according to the regulations that we have, you will not do those things again. But let me go back. We all in Liberia, and sometimes people say the Liberian way. Mm-hmm. Few of my friends, when they call me doing inspections and say I'm stuck, this is what I do. I say, give the inspector the phone. Do you know what I tell the inspector? Do your job. And I tell my friends, say, well, the man will take care of you.
I'm a witness to that.
I didn't say he will release you.
I'm a witness to that.
I said he will take care of you. So taking care of you means he's doing his job. Right. So we have no interference in what we do. But please, as a member of the public and a referee of our plebiscitary democracy, we ask that you report those cases to us, and we will expeditiously intervene and solve those problems.
Now, just before my second question, did I hear you say that there will be an inspector assigned in car or vehicles?
No, we would.
Underneath the disguise?
Yes, we'll do spot inspections because we're trying to make sure that the public doing that thing. The team is working on a plan, and I think that plan will be approved. I travel tomorrow, so the acting minister will go on my instructions and approve those, and they will be arbitrarily going around again. In different vehicles. I mean, it happens everywhere. In the United States, the police hide in the bushes to arrest people for speeding tickets. So we have to enforce things. When we set few examples, we catch few bad apples, those things will not happen again. Because this government and the Ministry of Transport means business. We dare to work, and we work. And we will work. I will be remiss and spineless if I don't talk about an employee at the Ministry of Transport. And people say the worst sometimes of her, but she's one of my dedicated employees. She stays about 7:30, 8 at night, trying to capture data at peak hours. These are the kind of models employees that we want and need, and these are the kind of people we encourage, and that's what has happened at the Ministry of Transport. People are working. We will talk about Patrick's here. Give an example with Shari.
No, that's it.
Give you an example that he couldn't hide from inspectors. Those plans are reviewed, and the way we do things is that we put it on the board in the ministerial room. We put it on the board. We split Morovia. We look at it. When plans come, we do it. We don't chastise our staff for doing the wrong thing, for doing the right thing, even though the procedure is wrong. We just put in those corrective measures, and we have I won't say liberal, but a gentle leadership style. We are not in the process of doing unprofessional things. And I think with those motivation, when people are free to talk to their leaders, people are free to tell them the problems that they have at work, it makes things easy. And the commitment we've made to them, especially even as far as high places, that we will, at the Ministry of Transport, give every employee the dignity they deserve.
All right. And then my second question has to do with the decentralization process that you talked about.
Fabi, you're going to take all of my questions. You were just looking across here. Now I have to struggle to find two.
The decentralization process
Yes.
that you talked about, taking services to the people. Take, for instance, what has been a challenge in the past. Not all villages or towns have roads that are accessible to people. So how are you going to take those services to the people for them to know what's happening? Because Monrovia is in Liberia, so how?
I agree. Monrovia is certainly not Liberia. You see, we would decentralize, but first we have to regionalize our decentralization. Okay. We cannot put transport services in every town. Because there's costs associated with that, and we have to get the best out of the thing. But let me give you an example. Let's say I establish a center where I'm only getting 10 driver license application a week. It's not worth it. I have to take it somewhere that I'll get at least 100 or 150 and that kind of thing. So we have to balance it.
Honorable Minister, people are watching your TV.
Oh,
yeah. People are watching you in the country. LBS Director General Eugene Fabron is just showing it live on TV.
Okay. I didn't know I was looking this good, but thank you.
You look good anyway.
That was a joke.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
So who do we have online? If we have the Liberal ready to take his own,
the Liberal is online. And I think it's time for, I can see he's going to come long. And I think this topic has a lot of following, and we should expect to take more calls. So let's go to the Liberal for now.
Let's swim out.
Thank you. Mr. Minister,
good friend.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate your effort, everything that you listed here tonight. There are things that we all should be proud of, and the fact that you were at the ministry before as a deputy, though you were in administration. So the policy aspect of that ministry is in good hands. That I can say, certainly. But here's what I want to do here for us tonight. The Minister of the Minister of Transport was set up for transport, insurance, and maritime policy and regulation, I believe. I will speak to the transport part of it. I'm a civil engineer, roadway engineer to be specific, here in the state of California. I'm not trying for a job. I'm not putting application for job. I'm just saying what I do. Now, Mr. Minister, I know we don't have much time, and so I'm not going to bore you with the engineering details of what is happening. But first, I want to find out, when was the last time you had a meeting with the public works minister and the police director? One question. Okay, go ahead, answer that.
I had a long day from 7 this morning to now, and I leave 7:30 in the morning to go on official duty out of the country. So I want to take it. My brain is not as smart as it is now when you use it for more than 8 hours a day. So let me do it one at a time. I apologize. Okay. You talk about my relationship with fellow officials of government. I've been knowing Minister Roland Giddings for over 25 years.
Sir, I don't want you to
come in. You say, when last I have meeting, I need to answer.
Hello? Excuse me. I was specific. I want you to stick with that line, please.
Yeah, but I'm answering your questions.
And the police director or the IG.
Can you allow me to answer the question?
The minister will come to that. You just want to go. You want to go on the side first before coming to that. Go ahead.
Minister Roland Giddings, I've been knowing for the last 25 years. He's a brother and he's a friend. Our wives know each other, and I know the children. We have a perfect relationship. We sit on the road phone board together. He's in Abuja now on official assignment, so we talk constantly. With the IG, the police director and I speak at least 3 or 4 times a week. Just day before yesterday, he contacted me. Just the day before yesterday, he contacted me to give him an intel on the plate number that he wanted. But let me say, there's more to just the head. I have a great relationship with Prince Tamba, who is the deputy for technical services at the Public Works Ministry. And also 102, Mr. Freeman is a friend. As a matter of fact, very close friend. I have a good relationship with 106.
You have a good relationship with me too. LBS. So all of us here.
So 106 and I have been friends since he was 3 years old.
Oh wow.
So I have a good working relationship with people, especially at the highest level. I'm glad you asked that question, because in order for us to do our work, we need some kind of professional camaraderie to allow things to flow. And in order for us to do our work, we need to talk more. We need to listen to each other. And sometimes we can learn from each other in their professional space. So I have told you what my professional relationship with people
Thank
is.
you.
What's the next one?
I hope in your meeting with the two entities that I spoke about, I hope you guys are able to discuss what I consider to be Venn diagram, where you have something in common in the diagram, that those things are going to be discussed. So you said here earlier, people die. You have 1,693 accident, and now you have 519. That is 30%. And for me, as an engineer who believes in safety, 30% is not something to sneeze at. It's not something I'm going to be happy about. But I think you guys are doing your work effectively, and I appreciate it. How many engineers and how many mechanics you have in your department?
You mean at the ministry instead of a department?
Don't give me numbers. In fact, let me rephrase that. Do you have,
the labor?
I don't want numbers. Do you have engineers and mechanics at the ministry?
Well, we have a maintenance department. As a matter of fact, my assistant minister for land and rail services, Mr. Zuno Doyen, is an engineer, a civil engineer and a transport expert. He just completed the road safety audit training in the United States. We have Mr. Wanasu, who runs our road safety program, who went to school in Tanzania with his master's in transportation engineering. The young lady I talk about that graduated recently, she did her in transport logistics. About mechanics, we do all our government mechanics thing with the GSA that are responsible for vehicles, and also the private sector. Over here we have plumbers and electricians, and I don't know whether that answer your question or you are offering us.
The reason for that's the two questions. You just answered the first one. Having a civil engineer on board is a plus, but I'm not too sure why is it that you guys are not effective in putting in place weight of trucks, who's supposed to utilize road at a specific, because these people, the engineer you're talking about, should know the structure section of each road, and they should know the weight that is required on each of these structure sections on those roads. So that is on them. The reason why I asked for the mechanic, because you made a statement earlier about roadworthiness and then people go and test the cars and whatever. So I was wondering if you have a mechanic that will go out and look at these 18-wheelers, what are the brake systems, what is the pressure on the brake system, all those kinds of good stuff. But I don't want to bore you with this.
Okay, let me answer. I didn't talk about that here, and I think maybe the fault is mine. I didn't provide that clarity. At the Ministry of Transport, we have the axle load control program, and I think specifically is that what you are talking about. So, and besides that, our fee structure is based on the curb weight of a vehicle on the road. The higher your vehicle is charged a fee. If you look at our plate, commercial plate, they run from A1 to A6. So the smaller your vehicle is A1, the bigger A2, A3. That is the weight on the car. So for the axle load, that measures the amount of weight on the weight of vehicle posts on the vehicle posts on the asphalt. So we, as part of our plans, we want to do weigh stations. There's a company that came called Wadra that we believe the procurement problems are issues. We're trying to correct that. We set up weigh stations at the port, and specifically to mining sites, we're trying to go and do that because they cause most of the destruction on the roads, and most of the trucks go to the port of Monrovia to do their pickups and stuff. And also before the war, when I was a little boy, when we went to the West, bombing Cape Magbapalu, whatever, at Clay Chapel, there used to be a weigh station. So we're trying to pick all of those up. It's done through our axle load program. We have an axle load control unit. The EU invested a lot of money in there. We did a lot of trainings. We trained over 20 persons at the Ministry of Transport who are axle load champions, and we have the expertise for that. But we need to partner with the public, with the PPP arrangement to make sure that we can do it pretty effectively.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, so I think it's actually what you were talking about. Sorry, I didn't mention that.
Thank you very much. I'll just say this and I'll turn it over to the moderator. I will hope that your department, because you have 16 departments, by the way, and you have other functioning unit in your department, they call them division. But I will hope that your department, your transport department, will utilize the effort to do testing, equipment testing, car testings, construction equipment testing, because those are things that when you do as a nation, when you have those kinds of stuff, the safety aspect, which is pretty much on you, will go up high. I mean, very high. To have 200 people dying without fighting war, just for some motor vehicle, somebody's supposed to be sitting to go home and have to die. That is unacceptable. And to come back now as a minister to say you have 30% to this point, of course, it's a plus. But I also say it's unacceptable from a safety standpoint. So, but I want to thank you. I will hope to have an opportunity where perhaps I will have the opportunity to do one-on-one with you because there's so many things that I want to talk about when it comes to transport, public work ministry, and the police. I have a high interest in it as a Liberian because I think we need to, especially to have a young man like you, to take on this responsibility It means Liberia's better day is still ahead of us. And I want to say thank you very much. I appreciate answering my question.
Well, you're welcome. But let me say something, and I believe I wasn't too clear enough. Maybe I wasn't. I talk about roadworthiness inspections. Roadworthiness inspection means we would test the brakes, the tires, view mirrors, emissions, and all of those on a vehicle before they get registered. And I thought that point was not too clear. Maybe when I say roadworthiness, and that includes trucks, that includes taxis, that includes buses, that includes all private vehicles. So maybe I wasn't too clear, and I hope that I thought you as an engineer, when I say roadworthiness inspections and a safety expert, you will understand that pretty effectively and pretty expeditiously without asking those questions. And about safety.
But let's also remember we have
Can you allow the minister to learn on his thought, please?
Please. Anyway,
we are almost running into.
Listen, we encourage this kind of discourse. That's exactly what we need in our country, when we can start having these conversations. Many people are passionate about societal changes. People are passionate about road safety and people's lives, which we adhere to as a nation to raise to a higher standard. So that's a good thing. You talk about having people, the fatalities last year, about 200. We've decreased that significantly. If I can fully recollect, I think we are 28 so far. I wish you were in Liberia. You're not in Liberia. That's the thing. I would have charged you to go to JFK, go to your community hospitals, go everywhere. You see the accidents have dropped because of the motorbike situations. I mean, I was at the RLJ hotel and somebody came and tapped my back and said, well, this was a nurse. And she said, our trauma war has dropped. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm not allowing you to make more money. So we are really involved in safety. But things cannot happen overnight. So at some point, we thinking about this, but we haven't come up with a conclusion. At some point, maybe we may need a national drivers conference. Maybe we need to have more conversations about where we drive.
That will go public awareness.
Maybe we can talk about many things as a country. And it is very important that all of us have those discussions. Because when I was a little boy, Ivan Fix, who used to be here, would say, the life you save, maybe can be your own.
Okay, so Diflo.
Yes, thank you. Honorable Minister, a lot of people are waiting to engage through the phone. But before we go to the license, we are running quickly. We got about 6 more minutes.
Yes.
So we're going to draft 2 questions from my end. One has to do with the issue of plates. Each vehicle in this country or around the world is usually given 2 plates, one for the front and one for the back.
It's the law.
In our country, that's the law. In this country, most of the time you will see a plate, a single plate put on the vehicle, and the other one is put on another vehicle. How do you intend, or the ministry, to deal with this situation? Because most of the time, somebody are the big boys that are doing that.
So, when the Ministry of Transport is doing inspections, there's no stone left unturned. Government officials, regular folks. At some point, we engage the military to let them know that their people cannot have, because sometimes they will say, a military man, so I will bulldoze through a checkpoint. No, if you're a military man, as long as it's not a military vehicle, it should conform with the law. The issue about one vehicle, one plate on a vehicle and is removed and put on the other one, those are something that we are chasing. We're trying to correct if there is. We doing our best through our inspections. The police is also helping us on this, because transport ministry inspectors cannot be every day, every point at every. I only have 125 inspectors. I don't have that much. I need resources to do that. But then, if I'm so intrusive, I will be taking the police job, because mind you, there's a traffic division at the police that deal with those things. I just go and enforce to make sure it happen, and we collaborate. And those inspections are not done by the Ministry of Transport alone. It's done with the Liberia National Police, the Ministry of Transport, LRA, and we're trying to add the Liberia National Fire Service in the mix at some point, because vehicles, especially those trucks, need firefighting equipment. but we are working on that on those things to happen. But let me go back on the other caller. He said that I think he keep calling the Ministry of Transport department. We are not a department. We are a ministry. With President Tolbert changed that. The Transport Ministry has two departments: the Department of Administration, Insurance, and the Department of Land Transport. And also we have 21 divisions and not 16. Let's get that information out there to the public just in case they want to do some research.
Okay, so the next one I have for you is, you and I live in the West. We spend a lot of time, we travel to Sierra Leone around us here, in Ghana and other places. Toll booths around us, just our neighboring countries. Are you guys looking into, because we cannot continue to look at this country in the way that people just drive freely, road maintenance to get revenue. Is that anything in the pipeline that has to do with toll booths around this country?
Okay.
In places?
You raised two concerns.
Mm-hmm.
The first concerns were toll booths. The next thing was road maintenance. So, you see, to look at the future, to change the future, to change our country, to offer a different perspective on how we do things. We have to evaluate the past. And we as a country at some point miss when we build roads, we didn't put toll booths on them. And the newest road that we are still constructing is the RIA corridor from EAW to RIA. The Deputy Minister, Mr. Chamba, and I were just discussing this at the investment forum. At some point, we need to put toll booths on the road. And on future roads, we need toll booths sometimes to maintain the road and sometimes for other projects. But another point you raised about maintenance. So we have the Liberia National Road Fund that gets 30 cents on the gallon of fuel. And that money goes to road maintenance. There's a whole, that's why the public work uses. Sometimes when it's the government say we're spending wholly only us on this road and no partner. So it comes on the road fund and it goes there. So there's actually a framework in place to make sure that happens. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Yes, thank you very much. I know it's been a long day, Mr. Minister. We got one more lap. That lap now has to do with talking to the public, those who have been following us, those who have interest. So we'll take the calls now. The number to call, the loan number is 0772 876 481. Again, 0772 876 481. We have the Minister of Transport as our studio guest today, being quizzed here on Nightline Liberia, both in studio and online. So let's go to the line to see whether we have a caller there already. Hello, caller. Good evening, caller. Hello. Can you hear me? Well, let's take the next one. It's like when I okay, good evening. How are you? Please tell me your name and where you calling from. Hello. Apparently we lost him. Let's go. Hello. Yes.
Yeah, good evening. How you doing?
Yes, please tell me your name and where you calling from.
Yes, I'm
It's like you have a feedback. Cut your receiver off.
Yes, I'm Jackson Mova, and I do call from Painesville Coca-Cola Factory.
Jackson, let's hear you.
Hello?
Let's hear you, Jackson. We can hear you.
Are you getting me?
Yes, Jackson, we can hear you.
Yes, I say I'm Jackson Mova, and I do call from Painesville Coca-Cola Factory.
Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to the minister in studio and to all of you, the panel. I want to say thank you to all of you for this wonderful discussion. I believe the issue of transport and registration in our country is a kind of vital issues that need to be looked at clearly. And one concern I have with the minister has to do with those trucks that fly the street among all of the people in the marketplaces. And I witnessed some incident a few months back when a lady died at red light from one of those trucks, and some of them don't even have brakes. And we have some that happen also on the EAW highway. So how is the minister and his ministry going to put in regulations to be able to have these things to be curtailed so that it can keep happening in the country?
Okay, thank you very much. Next one. Hello, caller. Please, yeah. I mean, if you're around a receiver, please move away or reduce the volume. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from. Hello. Hello, caller.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
I want to say good evening to Celine Taylor Institute for the good work he has started. Because it's a white chicken too much. The chicken want to do all of things. I want to add that, when they say government, they have to start from the head, especially our lawmakers. There are a lot of self-plates that you will see honorable, this, that, one plate on each of those cars. The front side, they get black food, sometimes the officer, that honorable are coming in, they try you check at the bag, nothing there. Why there is a law that will prosecute or even bring them to book. Okay. These people are lawmakers. I hate to quote lawmaker already, as people can say. So I ask you to read it, the rules you put in place, the few days, the regulation, let you read it, try to check it out. Okay. Because there are a lot of people read it.
What's your name again? Thank you. We reinforce D-Flow there about that.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, caller. Please tell me your name and where you calling from.
Okay, I'm Daniel Bosio. I'm Daniel Bosio calling from Oro.
Daniel, let's hear you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Minister. Please let me ask you a few questions. Mr. Minister, we are still in use, to bring down the transport price. Because we understand that the gap is still $810. Okay, the stepper will buy from the stepper garage and whatsoever. Okay, it's still expensive. So I don't know which one of you asking you using now to bring the transport price down because we're buying gas $810.
Yes, thank you. We hear that we don't have a lot of time. We'll go to the next caller. He wants to know about the yardstick that we'll use. Yeah, let's hear you. Please call your name and where you're calling from.
Thank you, Chief. Let me say good evening to the rest of the panel. My name is Kweu William Covey, and I joined this from District today. Let me say thank you very much to the Minister of Transport, Mr. Starter. I have two questions for him quick. Question number one is that, Honorable Minister, every time when inspection time reaches, you guys enforce insurance law and mandate moving vehicle operators to insure their vehicle. Now, my suggestion is that will the ministry also revisit the insurance law? And for example, if they I pay my insurance, for example, I'm a motorcyclist, I pay my $100 for insurance. As long as I never encounter any accident, next year to pay my insurance. Why can the insurance company pay me 50% of the year insurance that I pay because I know it's an accident? Right? If it's not visited all of the time, if I don't encounter accident, I'll be free money I'll be giving to the insurance company.
Thank you, Kweru. Let's take the next one.
Hello?
Yes, hello. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
I'm John Bowler calling from Congo Town.
Let's hear you, John.
Hello?
Yeah, you got 1 minute. Use the 1 minute.
John Bowler calling from Congo Town.
Please go ahead.
Okay, I have two concerns of make a recommendation to the government that the transportation will generate funds to help government revenue. And I have two questions.
No, that you can't have all of that. You can have one question and probably a recommendation.
Okay. Okay,
Can you go ahead?
Take the next caller.
So let's take the next caller. When you call, you have a question or a comment. Let's take the caller, your name and where you're calling from.
Good evening.
Good evening. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Oh, thank you. My name is Bove Abu Menska. Joining this question on District 6 Ethical Forum. Let me applaud the Minister for his hard work that he's doing and continues to do for the laboratory. But our problem that some of us are facing is the press, because we are finding it very difficult with these taxi drivers. It is not easy, many of them, and at times when you see some police officer near the road, you even go to them to carry the complaint. The police officer, they don't even care. So I think the ministry need to put, maybe mix the police where maybe they are on the task force along the police where the police can be, so we can carry our complaints to them, because the police are not adhering to some of our complaints.
Okay.
The step is welcoming. But when it comes to the moving up to the every duty, I guess the minister, they need to regulate this kind of cars. We're using our rules. Our rules are very narrow.
Okay.
But when it comes to the ethical arena, the few days are going.
Well, thank you. You have 1 minute back. So let's go to the next person. Your name and where are you calling from?
I can go ahead now?
Yes, go ahead now.
Okay, my question is, I want the minister to address this question about license. I want to talk about testing as eyesight. But there are some representatives at the transport ministry, you go for license, they say, well, you want a license. Then they go and fast track the license. Then you can get a license for the same day or the next day. I want to address that. Okay. And number two, I want to recommend to transport ministry to work in collaboration with the police to have a workshop for the drivers, even the keke drivers. You know, I can give you an instant. Being in driving school, I can remember in the 80s, 85 or 86, whatsoever, they used to gather the drivers in the city hall and they teach them traffic rules and all of that.
Yeah.
After a week or two.
Yeah. We followed that well. Thank you. We've taken your concern. Let's take the next person.
Hello?
Yeah, two more. Let's take your name and where you calling from.
Hello?
Can we take your question, please, or your comment?
Yeah. Okay, I have a concern. Honorable Minister, thank you ever so much listening to your conversation, and I have a concern that in time that the Ministry of Transport, there were too many guys who were not in the employ of the ministry, but in the hello?
Go ahead, you're alive, man.
Please.
Yes, and they were there like processing legal documents or other documents for people who were able to like have their car document registered. So how do you intend to settle this issue?
Okay. Thank you. We take just one more. We just take one more. Call your name and where you calling from.
Okay. Good evening. This is Adam Andrews. I call you from Grand Battle Highway BIA community.
Go ahead, Adams.
Yeah. Actually, first let me the minister. Let me tell him thank you for the level of work so far for the 6 months in his job. For certain things he said, and they actually playing on me. I think the minister needs to clarify. He said that the Ministry of Transport will work along with driving school, along with the Liberia National Police to issue a new driving license. Is beautiful, but then the minister should take into consideration we don't have no database. So we that applied for our license years ago, and then the license expired. The ministry still have our old data in place that when we go to renew our license, would they give it to us, or we have to go back to our driving school to?
You got it.
You got a question. The minister has a question. Your question is clear.
You got a question.
The lines are hot.
Yeah, minister.
So we unfortunately we don't have the luxury of time. So we're going to stop here for now, and the minister and the panelists will go through this. He will provide answers, and then later on the panelists will give their parting comments and any additional comment they have to make. So it's over to you, minister.
We got just 20 minutes to do everything.
So before answering the questions for the public, I would like to thank all the folks that call and participated. We need these engagements because we need some feedbacks. And I think we should do more of the NICAD and ELBC to properly explicate our message out to the people. And I would like to thank the Liberia National Police, the Inspector General, Gregory Coleman, the Minister of Public Works, my friend, Roland Giddings, the LA, the LCA, and all tentacles and stakeholders at the Ministry of Transport that have supported us so far. Mr. Adam Andrews talked about requirements he averred that we don't have a database. Oh yes, we at the Ministry of Transport, we have a database. We have a system that collect your biometrics, and so we have a database. And the requirement he was talking about is not for old drivers, it's for new drivers. So when you're a first time driver, you turn 18, or you just go to driving school, want to partner with the police and the driving school to make sure you have a proper certificate that we can verify. And then when you come, you pass through the exams and we issue those licenses. The other caller talk about people processing, and we are clear. We cannot go into the community and do transport work in your neighborhood. If you need to register your vehicle or do your driver license, you come at the Ministry of Transport or any of our decentralized points. At some point, you come in and meet only transport ministry employees. Do not deal with people standing in front of our buildings. And let me be clear, before we came to lead the Ministry of Transport, there were people standing all over outside, but we cleared those folks. If you go there today, you don't see many of them there, because we want people that will especially transport ministry employees, that will do the work, and there should be no interference from people on the side trying to cajole people, or people on the side trying to panhandle people from doing that, from going to do the rightful thing that they want to do at the ministry. The other caller talk about fast tracking driver license. We don't have a system called fast tracking driver license. You go there and we'll process you as the service you need in terms of driver license, would be a chauffeur, be ordinary license, we'll process as the case. But we at the Ministry of Transport try to process everything we do in 24 to 48 hours. And I tell people, when or let me be clear with the Liberian people, when people come to you and say it's been 1 week, I haven't gotten my registration done, it's been 3 weeks, I haven't gotten a driver license done, that is not the Ministry of Transport. You probably went on the side and got and talk to people in the community. Come to the Ministry of Transport. And many times we have to investigate this thing, and I cannot go, if you live in Rocktown, in your community, to investigate you and a neighbor. I can investigate the transport ministry employees and the public. So please come to the Ministry of Transport, deal with our employees that are responsible and have fiduciary responsibilities in those areas. The other caller, Mr. Abu Meska, he talked about the taxi driver not adhering to the fares. I will take note to that, and I will re-engage my brother and good friend Gregor Coleman to make sure that his police officer who were part of the process in coming up with the fares through the traffic division, help us to enforce those things. But we at Transport Ministry will do our work from our side. But I'll re-engage Mr. Coleman, ICG Coleman, so we can work on those things together. So Mr. William from District 3, think we need to revisit the law in terms of insurance company having quota for good driving. So that means if you drive better, the insurance company is supposed to give you a quota everywhere in the world that is done. But the quota they're talking about, it can be 50% of your insurance bill, but at least some little relief to encourage good driving behavior. There's something we can work on. So I will take note to that. Mr. Daniel Bozo talked about the yardstick the transport ministry used in terms of coming up with the fares. I was pretty clear. I don't know whether I should repeat that, but it's a stakeholder approach that we bring the commerce ministry that is responsible for pricing. We bring in the transport ministry to the table of the team, the Liberia National Police, the unions, and that has done. And there's a collaborative effort, and it's a fair process. We need to balance that the fares will be equitable for our people, and also the drivers will make some money. The other caller talk about lawmakers putting plates, whatever. That man won't put me in trouble. That's the wrong place to go. That man won't put me in trouble. But albeit, I remember the speaker and I talking about this. He has been very cooperative to our office, and he said, "Well, anything you need, let us know. Do a communication, and we'll talk to our fellow lawmakers to desist from those." Even Honorable Abu Kamara, who sat on the Transport Committee and was an assistant minister at the Ministry of Transport, has assured us that he will talk to his colleagues. Even in the redesign of the non-revenue plates, they were offering their expertise in that area. And lastly, Mr. Jackson Morba from Coca-Cola Factory talk about unsafe trucks in marketplaces. Well, that's why we're trying to do our roadworthiness inspections. All vehicles will be inspected for tire, brakes, emissions, view mirrors, other safety issues as well. But please, the public, when the Ministry of Transport start those engagements, start those inspections, let me talk the Liberian way. Don't say we're giving you a hard time again. They put wasting our time. They put giving you a hard time. I get my late throw trying to feed my children. They put on us. We, as you alluded, we will only be doing this for safety issues, for revenue, for public safety, and for safety. But let me add something that is extremely poignant. The president of Liberia, his primary responsibility is to keep us safe. Economic safety, road safety, health, just general safety, that we will have all the security apparatus and all government ministries in place. That is his primary job. Because if we have all the safety, and that's why he's doing pretty effectively, if you have all the safety in economics, in money, in jobs, in road, in plane, public way, ensuring that we have the right quality of asphalt on the road, NSA ensuring that the security network is working in terms of intelligence. All of those things is the safety that he passed on to different cabinet ministers and different agencies and all of that. So again, I would like to thank the president for the opportunity given me to serve. I would like to thank all my fellow ministers at the Ministry of Transport for working with me in a cordial and professional environment. And lastly, to the gallant men and women who are professionals at the Ministry of Transport. That being said, I will turn over to the panel and then we can have a discussion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. Having turned over to Vandela already, you have 1 minute, sir.
No, yes, just 1 minute. I want to leave my thing with recommendations to the minister.
Sure.
Minister Amos, I commend you highly for the level of what you have done just within 6 months. And remember everything that you have said here today. We're going to keep it in our diary. Another 6 months will remind you that this is what you said. But quickly, Mr. Minister, I want you to take these recommendations, whether they are appropriate or not, or to be utilized now. Well, but this is what I feel that can be done to help, improve the transportation sector in our country. In this country, what I know, people are not compliant. You will issue mandate. Somebody will go, you listen to the other caller, you don't know how he buys spare parts and gas. So that speaks volumes of not respecting that. If there is no hotline at the Ministry of Transport, it is important that we do it now. Secondly, you talk about you generate a lot of revenue. That's good. Buy some motorbike for surveillance. Maybe some of your people can, maybe a few vehicles, when someone call the Ministry of Transport that come and see something here, something is happening, that person is able to get on the back and go right on the scene, capture that individual, maybe call the police. When you arrest 1 or 2, 3 persons, I can tell you something will happen. The last thing has to do with this highway rest areas. Many occasions people live from here going to Bonkante, Nimba, long distance. Some of those drivers can be tired, but there's nowhere to rest. And at times, they risk the lives of the people. They have to reach. And, the mind is willing, but when the body is tired, it's a problem. If there will be a need for public-private partnership, maybe one can build a resting area. When you're so tired, maybe you come from the club, you're coming from different parts of the country, you say, look, we're sleeping here. Let's sleep here tomorrow morning. We can go, maybe we can have restaurant, people will utilize it. People just park on the side of the road, in the middle of the road, and just you see women going to go use the bathroom and making it. I think this is something I want you to look at. Lastly, this issue of old trucks, especially during the season. I have seen trucks. One time I got out of the taxi, the other day I parked my own car and left it right on the road and left.
The car at the beginning.
No. The reason is I saw this truck. You could tell that it was not real worthy, but driving among the people, highly populated area, downside, waterside. And on many occasions, sometimes the brake will fail, and you know what will happen.
Yeah.
So I want your people to come up with certain mandate. Okay. If they have goods, let them do it. When everybody leave, they can go there. But now when people are buying and you see those trucks going there to go disembark goods, I think I want you to look at that carefully. But again, congratulations for the work that you are doing. I appreciate that.
So the last point, there is a moratorium on moving goods throughout the city. But again, I have to engage the Liberia National Police to help on that. I cannot, my inspectors cannot be the traffic police because there's a statutory body responsible for that.
Right.
So I will engage Mr. Greg Coleman. All your points you made where it's something I need to look into. A public hard line for the public, which you have, but maybe I need more lines. I need more numbers. There, I think we have 3 numbers. Maybe I need to make they're receiving calls. So I think I need to make the numbers more. You talk about quick response. I agree. Maybe I need to give my people more support in terms of
buy them motorbikes so they can be able to beat the traffic quick.
I agree, but sometimes the money benefit can be high. Government get competing priority.
Okay, we'll give you
so
one,
we can look into
5.
Let's go to
so let's go.
Who else online?
Well, I think Guo is there. Let me see.
Let go give just 1 minute.
Yeah, Guo, you can take a minute.
Okay, it's actually Gua.
Okay.
That was Gua. Gua is a
That was Gua.
Yeah, I think he actually touched on all of the points, or most of the points, if not all. And he was very concise. He was to the point, and he gave enough details to be able to understand what has been done at the ministry and what they've done so far with regards to this fair. So I must commend him, and kudos to him and his team. Teamwork is very, very important, and that is what we at ELBC also do. And also kudos to the president. Like the kind of decisions he made to get certain kind of people in leadership position is really commendable. My final words to you would be, with this issue across the country, what about those areas that are badly affected by the road condition? Like, did you guys take that into consideration, and how our people can benefit from this drop in transportation?
Who is there?
Yeah, Sisi is there.
Sisi.
Go ahead.
So
1 minute.
Can I just
no? Let's just finish it. Then you close it up. Yeah.
Okay.
Sisi, please go ahead.
Yeah, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Minister. Let me echo what Thomas said. That you struck a lot of points. Like I said, you took about 90% of my questions. So that is really good. And thanks for thinking outside of the box. My one recommendation, if it's not something you're working on already, but if it is, then that's fine. I hope you can expand on that next time, is the intersection between transportation and education. I'm really concerned about when our scholars, especially those in kindergarten through 12th grade, are trying to get to school in the morning, and there's always this rush and this fight, and sometimes our students don't make it to school on time, or some don't make it at all. I will hope that there is some conversation between you and the Ministry of Education on what that intersection looks like and how you can make it as peaceful and as painless as possible for our scholars. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's also take on Samson. Are you hearing us?
Open the liberal.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. We appreciate you on the show here for the conversation. That's good. But when we speak on these things, let me throw a little light on this as a joke. I am a Liberian. But the fact that you are here to educate me on what are the ministry or department, I really appreciate that. That just to show that some of us been away for quite a while. Nevertheless,
it's time to come home.
Man, you're missing good Togi Kesawali.
Okay, all right. But anyway, Mr. Minister, basically what I think you just stated that I will hope that not just you and these various ministers in the ministry, the Minister of Public Works and Police specifically, because the reason here, all three of you have something in common, very much affect the public. So I think if you guys can, not just the head, but the lower bottom, those who are going to be out to do the inspection and things, if they can bring the police on board from the initial stage, why are they going out to do the inspection? What are some of the things they need to look for? So the police themselves will be aware of these kinds of stuff, so that when they're doing enforcement or helping you to do enforcement, they will understand that. But lastly, I hope, because tonight, and I will be, as a liberal, I'll be very frank with you. You are here to toot your horn, and which we appreciate. And you also here to tell us how you're generating fund. You took almost 45 minutes of it. So we will hope you will come back where we will have the opportunity to truly engage you, not just one or two questions, sir. I think you guys over there, for most of you are young, and the like of you can go any part of the world and make money. But yet still you're there for miracle change to help our people. This thing need to be highlighted, and we need to showcase you guys as much as possible. Thank you very much, and I'll say good night to you as well.
Yes, 2 minutes.
Okay, so 3 points before I leave. He talked about the enforcement. The enforcement we do includes the Liberia National Police. And before we do that, we have a muster at the Ministry of Transport to launch the enforcement. The Liberia National Police is there as part of that muster. So the instructions is given, and then trainings are done with our inspectors before the inspections. And then we do evaluations as we do them. And after that, we do some evaluations as well. Because there will be cases where, there could be some issues with inspectors and the public, and how do we deal with it in terms of the approach and how the public respond to them. Those kind of things, we look at them. Somebody talked about Leeward County fairs. The Leeward County, but the fairs we release is only for Monrovia and its environs. Okay, we are working on the long hauls, we call them. For instance, from Red Light to Kakata, from Monrovia, from Pinsville to Buchanan. In as soon as possible time, we already came up with the drive. We just need to populate them and release them. So those will be released pretty soon to the public. And the other gentleman talked about the fine line or the interconnection between MOT and education. Well, so at the Ministry of Transport, we have the National Road Safety Secretariat, and that encapsulates Ministry of Transport, Liberia National Police, Health, Education, and Public Works. And through the Ministry of Education piece, we work on curriculum for driving schools. We work on exposure to young people in terms of how they cross the road, look left, look right, and that kind of thing. So we starting a little bit as much as we can. But I agree on that side. Maybe we need to do more. Maybe we need to engage the Minister of Education more to deal with the schools. But we have encouraged some partnership with stakeholders. There's an organization called RSAI in Congo Town, the Road Safety Action International. Eric Jane Georges is the executive director there. Quite recently at the Public Works, we launched the road safety captains at all the public schools in the country, or at least most of the public schools. I think there was about 80, 90 of them. It was a big room. He had captains from all over the place. He got funding from international folks. And we were able to engage the young people at that level and charge them what they have to do in terms of road safety and how they need to work in their clubs to put those things out. So we're starting at a level. Maybe we need to be more. I'm open to more suggestions. And I hope we can wrap this up soon because I'm getting really tired now. Right. I've been up since 7.
We're at the end. That's your last comment for tonight. So let me say thanks to everyone on the panel tonight. Let me say thank you to my colleague Fabin, the technicians. Let me say thank you to all of those who participated in the show. Thank you so much, Mr. Minister. It's been a long day. We appreciate this. We look forward to seeing you again. So as we wind down, I mean, we always like to ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. In the voice of His Excellency, Joseph Nwaka, Senior President of the Republic of Liberia. Whatever we do, let us think Liberia, let us love Liberia, and let us build Liberia. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you tomorrow evening.
Thank you.
The Department of New Media